is Melania? That's a question that I have asked before, that many people have asked. As Donald Trump became president, has had scandals, some successes. It's strange that he seems to see his wife so little, but in this time in particular, when the Epstein thing has been swamping his presidency for multiple weeks, and a lot of people, including many right-wingers, are speculating about what exactly Donald Trump did, as more and more details of his long friendship with one of the most notorious perverts in American history are released on a daily basis. Where's the wife? I think a lot of people are wondering. And is her absence from his side indicative that she, like many people, is growing increasingly suspicious? Spoiler alert, no, she doesn't need an excuse to not spend time with him. But we are getting more details coming out from people in the know about Melania and how she met Donald Trump, what social circles she moved in, that maybe give an alternative explanation as to why she doesn't want to pop up very much in these conversations. And so bear in mind, this comes from Michael Wolff, a journalist who's written a lot about politics. He has had basically unprecedented access to political figures, including Donald Trump. That said, what he says is often disputed by Donald Trump, so we'll give you that caveat. And he says that Melania was very involved in Jeffrey Epstein's social circle, and that is apparently how she actually met Donald Trump in the first place. Wolff said she's introduced by a model agent, both of whom Trump and Epstein are involved with. She's introduced to Trump that way. Epstein knew her well. Trump and the future First Lady reportedly first met in September 1998 through Paolo Zempoli, the founder of ID Models, the guy or the organization that helped Melania emigrate to the United States in the first place. Zempoli had his own ties to Epstein and to Ghislaine Maxwell as well, according to Politico. In explosive tapes first recorded by Wolff, Epstein alleged that Trump liked to F his friends' wives and first slept with Melania on his Lolita Express. That's what Epstein said. And so she was a factor in the social thing. Again, that's not asserting that she did anything wrong or necessarily knew that anything bad was happening, but she was on the flights, she was in that social circle. And Zempoli, by the way, is still a figure in this whole thing politically. Since March 2025, Zempoli has served as Trump's special representative for global partnerships. He apparently has a giant oil painting of Trump in his Georgetown mansion. So they have maintained their friendship, even if eventually Donald Trump stopped his with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, Melania disputes this characterization of the beginning of their relationship. She says that she first met Trump at New York's Kit Kat Club, which just sounds like the most Epstein sounding place I've ever heard of. But anyway, and in her book, she talks about how he came up to her and started basically trying to talk her up while with another date of his. Again, just pitching him in the most flattering light or whatever. And she thought, oh, he's so fascinating. And he was with another woman. And so she definitely thought that there wasn't anything there. It was just, a friendly conversation, because obviously Donald Trump didn't have an aura of being, an adulterer for literally decades at this point. And so she would have you believe that it has nothing to do with anything, okay? And maybe that's true. Still, if it was the Clinton years and Clinton was in this sort of scandal, remember, he had his own big scandal for a long time. I don't know, the fact that he doesn't have the woman in his life who's supposed to be closest and know him best, doesn't seem to want to have anything to do with him during all this time. That seems very strange to me. What do you think, Jayar?
Isn't it weird? It's kind of odd. I was seeing headlines a few weeks ago about the Obamas and their marital issues. Are they going to get divorced? We haven't seen them together. Oh, how come he went to this event and she wasn't there? And I think I saw another headline, because I didn't have time to take all this in, about how they addressed the divorce rumors and gave some details. Why is no one curious enough to try and figure out exactly what it is that's behind Melania's, now in two separate terms, distance from her husband? And the obvious videos of her slapping him away and turning her back to him and giving him middle fingers. Why hasn't that been adjudicated to the degree of divorce rumors through former president, that they can do whatever the hell they want? But we're so detached from but even stories like this, why hasn't Melania said anything about this? Why hasn't she come out full force and be like, my husband is on the up and up, has nothing to do with this?
Yeah.
Well, that'd be a story within itself, because as we've seen, their relationship looks a lot like she wants nothing to ever do with him. She got whatever she needed out of it, and so did he. And I worry maybe we'll see more of that as these issues come out. Who knows?
And by the way, if you're not remotely interested in either of those, you don't think that it has anything to do with anything, I think that's totally fine. I don't think you're obligated to care about any of this. I mean, I've tried to provide some information as to why there could be something there, but you don't have to care about it. The thing about the right wingers that weirds me out though is that they do care about it. They hyper focus on any idea that Barack Obama, a guy who literally is just off making documentaries, has nothing to do with politics anymore, maybe he'll get divorced or whatever. And yet they pretend to think that, oh, everything's just great. Melania Trump, nothing weird, nothing suspicious there. Like again, you don't have to admit it, that it's a sham marriage. You don't have to do that, or whatever. But like, then you got to give a pass to Barack Obama. Like, you can't be interested in one that's utterly irrelevant and magnify all the evidence, and then not care about one that's actively looking super strange in the White House. That's my belief.
With the guy who's been divorced like 4 times already.
Exactly. It's the hypocrisy.
It's crazy.
The obvious race-tinged hypocrisy. Okay, we're gonna take our first break. We'll be back with a lot more after this.